If you have ever gotten confused or frustrated at villagers and wondered if there were some rules you should know about, this video is for you. To begin, I mapped out a single chunk in my world. A chunk is 16 blocks by 16 blocks square from the bottom of the world to the top of the world. The game will load an entire chunk at the same time, so it is always best practice to put any farms within the bounds of a chunk. Basic villager rules. Let us begin by placing a villager next to a profession table. If I wait here long enough, the villager might link to the profession table, but to speed it up, there should be a bed nearby. There we go. You can see the green sparkles that indicate that the villager has linked to both the bed and the profession table. Let's lock this villager into their profession by trading with them. They have a limited number of trades per item, but a villager will refresh their stock twice a day or overnight, so long as they can link to their workbench and bed. They do not have to sleep in the bed to restock, but they must be able to link to the bed. If you want the villager to restock, their profession table cannot be placed diagonally. It must be placed on a perpendicular. Don't let those green sparkles fool you. In order to restock, the profession table must be adjacent on a perpendicular to the villager. Bed location rules. If you have your villager and bed separated by a block, the villager cannot teleport to that bed at night. But if I put the bed diagonal to the villager, they can teleport out of their safe box and onto the bed. How frustrating. Now that it is the next day, the villager has refreshed their trades. A villager cannot link to a bed that is more than 4 blocks above or below the block they are standing on. Let's see how close we can get the beds before they can teleport out. Oh, there they go. Please leave at least 1 block separating your villager from their bed if you want them to stay in their safe box. Going back to a single villager placed towards the center of a chunk, let's see what their X and Z range is. A villager can link to any bed within 16 blocks of the northwest corner of the block the villager is standing on. So if you wish to place the bed to the south or the east of the villager, you need to be sure to count the block the villager is standing on. This villager can link to a bed placed anywhere within the bounds of the yellow wool. Now please remember that it is the pillow that marks the bed, not the foot of the bed. If the pillow of the bed is anywhere on or within the ring of yellow wool, the villager can link to the bed. In this image, the villager cannot link to this bed. The villager can link to a bed that is following the up and down dimensions all the way at this far corner. If I add a second villager, the range of both villagers is combined. The second villager has extended the range for both of them, as indicated by the blue blocks. Again, either villager can link to a bed if the pillow of the beds are anywhere within the combined shape made by the blue and yellow blocks. In this image, the yellow villager is linked to the yellow bed, even though that block was out of bounds in the earlier image. Now let's add 2 more villagers. Combined, all of the villagers can link to their bed so long as it is within the bounds indicated by the colored wool. I have color-coded the villagers and their beds to show you the extent of their range. Now I've added 1 more villager with a red bed far outside the boundary of the original village. Now the original 4 villagers are all linked to beds on the extreme end of the red villager square. If you have a loose villager, that extra villager could really mess up your farm. It's good to keep all of the villagers collected together, so you can control where the iron golems will spawn. Swapping profession tables. Going back to just 2 villagers, I want to talk about profession tables. I have maxed out the trades for both of these villagers, and I have taken away their beds. In the morning, they have not refreshed their trades. But if I put down a bed, you can see the green sparkles. But they have not refreshed their trades. This is because when their beds were removed, they switched their profession tables and can no longer work at them. As you can see, when I break the profession table, it's the other villager that has the storm clouds. Let's get this sorted. Now they are ready to work again. Let's go back in time when I put down that bed. Do you see these sparkles? This is showing you how the villager on the left is now linking to the profession table on the right. Very frustrating. If you notice, I only had to put down one bed to get them both working again. But you really need to ask yourself if 3 wool and 3 planks are worth the risk of profession table swapping. Head of the village. Finally, let's talk about the head of the village. To find the head of the village, place a bell. See the sparkles over all the villagers? They're all linking to the bell. But when we break the bell, we're looking for storm clouds. The Fletcher has the storm clouds. The Fletcher is the head of the village. Let's leave the bell by the Fletcher. To establish the head of the village from scratch, pick up all of the beds. Now place down one bed. The first villager to link to a bed will become the head. So the new head of this village will be the left-hand weaponsmith. Let's put down all of the beds. Now, do you see those storm clouds? This is because those 2 weaponsmiths have traded profession tables while the beds were up. Let's fix that. You always have to be careful when you pick up all the beds. Now, when we break the bell, you can see the storm clouds over the left-hand weaponsmith. That villager is the head of the village. The block that this yellow bed's pillow is on indicates the center of the spawn radius for spawning in iron golems. It is 100% worth your time to always put the first bed in the center of your iron farm. The iron golem will attempt to spawn in a space that is 17 by 13 by 17 blocks centered around that pillow, or 6 blocks above and below and 8 blocks to either side. There is a chance they could base their spawn center on a bell. I recommend limiting yourself to beds if you are making an iron farm. I also recommend placing the beds first and then never moving them again. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, are you still here? Am I still a really tiny channel? Now, did you find this video terribly useful? Yeah. You know what to do.